Okay, we're going to start our question and answer period. If you write a question, try to put it to a specific candidate. It would help. Some of them are a little hard to read. They're going to do their best. And they're going to pass them down to our three panelists here, our council members from out of town, and they will be asking the candidates. Again, the candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. We will allow up to 2 rebuttals on each question, and they will have 90 seconds for a rebuttal. So if our panel...
How would you decide if they wrote it to all the candidates? Will you decide which one should go first? Because you...
I'll allow maybe a couple of all candidates.
Okay.
Just I want to get as many questions as possible, so everybody can get a fair chance to answer as many as they can.
And you want to give the time limits again on?
2 minutes, for 2 minutes, whoever it's asked to. For instance, if it's Mr. Alveraz, he'll have 2 minutes, and then 2 other candidates will have a minute and a half, 90 seconds to rebut. No more than 2 rebuttals. So if our panelists are ready, go ahead and start with whoever would like to start.
Okay, Mr. Renzo, I guess I'm right here.
Mr. Anderson, go ahead.
This one's to all candidates. Vulcan Mining has claimed that they have mining rights to an additional 80 acres of our mountains, but have not been able to produce any proof of this claim. Would you be for or against giving them the additional 80 acres? So, with all candidates.
Why don't we start at the end since it's all candidates. Mr. Rocha?
Thank you. That's a very good question. And I've taken on giants before. We took on the giant that proposed the first Rosedale, and we won because it was the right thing to do. We have 2 giants in our scope. We have the giant in North Azusa, where they're trying to close off Dalton and putting in residential units where our civic center is. The giant in Vulcan, we need to overtake him. We cannot put a price tag on the health of our children. Along with me, I brought this paper that I've shared with some of you. It's the Vulcan expansion, 80 acres and 10 acres proposed on this side. We cannot afford to let this happen to our families, not only the families of Azusa, but to the families of Duarte, Monrovia, and Irwindale. If you take a look at your furniture, your car, all that fine dust that you find every morning. Take a look at Irwindale heading north, where Irwindale meets Foothill Boulevard. See all that fine dust. We are breathing that day in and day out. When I first started teaching 38 years ago, I had 1 or 2 cases of asthma at the most. I retired after 38 years, a year and a half ago. The majority of my kids had some breathing problems. I spoke to a teacher here in this Mountain Cove complex, teaches Longfellow. Most of her kids have breathing difficulties. I spoke to Mrs. Dierking this morning at St. Francis of Rome School. She and her husband did not have asthma. Their 3 daughters do. We cannot put a price tag on our health. We're ready to fight this giant and not allow the expansion. My wife, Linda, worked for the planning department for 24 years. There was no paperwork to allow them to expand to those 80 acres, 10 on this side. Those of you who live in Mountain Cove, you enjoy the quietness. We took on that battle, shut down the gun club. We cannot let this happen to any families. It's not worth your health, the health of our seniors, and the health of our children. They might. Thank you.
Not to cut off Mr. Rocha, but the blue one means you got 15 seconds. The red one
Okay.
means stop. Mrs. Chagnon, go ahead.
Thank you. I believe the question was, is it allowing additional mining of the 80 acres?
Yes, would you be for or against the additional 80 acres?
My personal opinion is that not only would I not like to see additional mining over there, because as Mayor Pro Tem Rocha just stated, I think we all would agree what the issues are when there's dust and particulates in the air. I think an even bigger issue, though, beyond the question of should they be able to have additional mining is, what are we going to do with the scarred hillside that's there today? Because we will be in court for a very long time. Just like we face potential legal battles with the gun club, we will be in court and we will have legal battles with Vulcan over expanded mining or additional mining. I think that we need to focus, though, not just on the additional mining, but the scar that's on our hillside. The plan that they have in place, the plan that was approved over 40 years ago, is no longer sufficient. And especially given today's technology, we know that technology exists where that mountain can be recontoured, it can be greened, it can be beautified, so that we are not seen all the way down in West Covina. So that when you are on a clear day driving through our city, that you don't look and say, well, where's Azusa? Instead of looking at the beautiful A on the hillside to find home, you can look and see where the scar on the mountain is and know that that's the city of Azusa. This city council has worked very hard on open space issues and